Oh, you're in for a real treat.
If we can dream it, then we can do it. Yes, we can, yes, we can.
Hang on to them hats and glasses, 'cause this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Hey Disney fans, come join the fun. Corey and Lawrence, the magic's begun. From the parks to the stories we adore, let's dive into the magic. There's so much more. It's the DIZPod, where dreams come true. With Corey and Lawrence, we'll explore with you. Entertain and teach every step of the way. With stories and facts, we brighten your day. From Disney history to tips and tricks, we've got the magic mix that always clicks. It's the DIZPod, where dreams come true. With Corey and Lawrence, we'll explore with you. Feel the magic, the joy and the cheer. Together we'll make memories year after year. The DIZPod, let's all sing along. With Corey and Lawrence, the magic's never gone. Bringing joy to your day in every way. In the DIZPod, where the magic's here to stay.
You are now listening to a member of the Disney Podcast family. Head over to Disney Podcast Family on Instagram to see all the latest posts for this show and links to other great Disney podcasts.
Hello and welcome, everyone. We are back. It's the DIZPod, taking 2 weeks off, something that we have never done before. A little bit of a shocker there. We had one planned week off and one unplanned week off, so it just kind of hit that way. Bam, bam.
Yeah.
But we're back. We're back. We are live. We do it live because we do it for all of you right there in chat. Welcome in, everyone. We appreciate that. And of course, we're just as appreciative of all of you that listen to us wherever you are later on, recorded in all those different forms. Amazon, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, and Spotify.
Love it. Welcome. We have a lot of new guests in chat. We appreciate you being here. I know some of you are looking for John. He'll be on in just a few minutes there. Yeah, so like Corey said, we were off for 2 weeks, and that feels really weird. Let's not do that again.
Yeah, it does. You know, it's even just like if I take a rare week off from streaming, it's like just those first few moments, you're looking at the camera and you're like, okay, I actually got to focus here for a second. Just a little bit more than I do normally.
Yeah,
for sure. I see a lot of great new names in chat. Love to see that. And you know, yeah, like you said, they're here to see our wonderful new guest, and should be a great show.
Yeah, appreciate everybody being here for sure. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna try and hold Corey and John back from talking tech. We'll get to know John a little bit. If I let these two guys go on about tech, it'll be a 3-hour show. So we'll try and wrangle them in a little.
That's a bonus episode right there.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. So I actually have great weather here today, which is pretty nice because I haven't been getting great weather. It's been raining like every day over here. So I feel like I'm in Florida in that respect.
I just drove out of torrential rain, ran to my car, and when I got home, it was not raining, but it looks like it did rain. So, but I outdrove the rain to get here. So,
hey, if any of you are D23 Gold members, just got that in the mail. It's the quarterly magazine. So
how is that possible? I just got one in the mail too, and it is not that. What's the back of it? Oh, I got that one. I got that one. I opened it. I don't even remember what was on the front because I turned it around and there was Stitch. I just love the live action look of Stitch. It's the best he's ever looked. They did a fantastic job with Stitch there.
They did.
So,
and there'll be sequels.
It would be nice. Oh, well, that would be good. Yeah. It was good. That was a good movie. I mean, you know, it was a good movie. So I was pleasantly surprised. It surpassed our expectations. Thought it would be decent, but my prediction did hold true, at least in my mind, and the group I was with. is I felt like from the trailer that this is going to make non-Stitch fans Stitch fans and Stitch fans bigger Stitch fans.
Okay.
Do you feel that way?
All right. I could see that. Because I only saw the original once and didn't even really remember it. And went in and loved it. So yeah, I would agree with you there. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Shirley was with us and she can't stop talking about it. I came home and said, "How many times did Shirley say Stitch today?" I think the over and under was 100.
So those of you that know Fun to Be Free, you probably watched earlier. He was in Animal Kingdom, streaming in the afternoons. John is a newer channel, but he just celebrated 3,000 subscribers, which is phenomenal. And what he does when he's live is very different than just about any other streamer out there. There are some nuances that both of you use, which is pretty cool. So we'll certainly be able to talk to John about that. He's also a former cast member, so I want to know all about that. 22 years, Corey. 22 years he was a cast member. So yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Very tenured.
So we will let's bring him in. Let's talk to John with Fun to Be Free.
Welcome, John.
I'm John with Fun to Be Free. How are you, Corey and Lawrence? Thank you for having me tonight.
Thanks for being
here. This is one of the
My
most
pleasure.
interesting backgrounds. I love your realistic background. You must be, home in your home studio, and it just looks so realistic. I mean, if we're talking tech, is that 19K or what is that back there? That looks good.
I even have a monorail cycling in the background.
Wow. We're gonna have to talk about that off air.
John, thanks for being here. Appreciate you coming in from the parks. John is our first guest that has come in from Disney World. I don't think we've. Oh, Aaron was at Coronado, the very first show.
Yes.
98 episodes. So it's been 98 episodes since we've had somebody live from Disney World. So we appreciate you being here. So John, tell us. I'm always interested in new creators and how they, decided to get into this. But we need to go further back with you because you have a much storied history with Disney. So tell us, how did that come about?
Well, it all started a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was actually when I was in high school. I simply applied to the Disneyland Resort. In those days, it was a little different. So it was a small family shop in 1996, and it transitioned into what you know as today as Disneyland Resort with two theme parks. Disneyland Resort contains, of course, Disneyland and Disney California Adventure. Before, I actually parked literally at the doorstep of Main Street USA and walked into Harbor House. But simply, this story is real, real fast. I simply applied, obtained cast member status. The next thing you know, I was there for 22 years. And here we are today, live streaming.
And when you started, did you think, I'm going to be here for 2 decades?
No, not at all. In fact, I thought I'm only going to be at Disneyland probably most likely for 4 years while I attend college. And then I'd probably go out and find a real job, quit. But as it turns out, I enjoyed it so much. I enjoyed making the magic for everyone. And a quick background, I actually worked attractions and parades and show support. The attractions that I worked were like Splash Mountain, the Haunted Mansion, and the Indiana Jones Adventure. And then I actually transferred departments into parades and show support. And pretty much every parade you could think of from those days, I drove the actual parade floats. The most famous example, of course, is the Main Street Electrical Parade. My most favorite float I ever drove was Elliot, the big green dragon.
Stop playing.
No
No,
way.
I'm not kidding. Okay, now we're on the subject. I've shared this slide before, but Elliot, I call it the Wizard of Oz because it's essentially the wizard behind the curtain, right? So in the float, it's big float, big wide open. You could literally throw a party inside and go down the parade route. But the float, Elliot, it has 2 steering wheels. So obviously the same steering wheel that you could drive like a car, but there's one off to the left as well. The left one has a little lever on it. And so as you turned it opposite directions, it would turn the head and the neck along with the tail. So you'd be left hand on this wheel, right hand on this wheel, and then you got your gas and brake. Near the gas pedal was actually a button down by my right foot called LN2 or liquid nitrogen, like the smoke, the fog that comes out of the nostrils. And then you had the lights. There was a light array of switches. So when the cast member or the actor, the performer up on top of the neck, the head, if you will, would say, Passamaquoddy. You turn the lights off, you hit the LN2. Meanwhile, you got to keep parade pace. You have your foot on the gas and the brake. You're doing the head and the neck and steering. And then on top of that, my left or right knee was always on the real steering wheel. So I'm calling it the Wizard of Oz, all at the same moment.
That is the Wizard of Oz. Wow. That's a lot
And
of
I'm being-
coordination.
It sure is. It sure was. And I wanted to quickly mention the vision. So there was a whole mechanism in front holding the actual head and neck up so you couldn't see. You only saw out of the scrim slots directly to the left and to the right. So you didn't have forward facing vision. You had vision essentially this way. Only narrow, tiny slits. In addition to that, the green lights. There's something about green lights behind the scrim, or think of it as mosquito netting. When you put the green lights to it, it's impossible to see through the scrim.
Wow.
So how do you're navigating just off the sides?
Well, it's not exactly left and right. It's more
Sure. Yeah.
forward direction to travel off to the sides.
Okay.
And then your vision was the level of trash cans, so you couldn't see the ground. Literally,
Okay.
all you saw was trash can level.
Wow.
So how I drove the floats was by perception, by feel. You got real good at knowing the parade route. You got real good at knowing the elevation and how the floats reacted. That's how I drove. And in fact, every time I drove the parade floats, I can never remember like how I got down the parade route. It'd always be like peripheral vision, and I never paid attention and just zoning out, and next thing you know, you're in the gate.
And this is a 20-minute route, right? Plus
Correct.
the pre and post, I'm assuming, added some
Correct.
to that. Wow. That's amazing. So how many of the floats did you drive?
Countless.
Yeah.
There's so many to count. So essentially, I worked all parades. Even when I worked attractions, I worked guest control, where I didn't actually drive the floats in the parade until I transferred to parades and show support. So I essentially participated in every parade from 1996 through 2018. That's a lot of parades, folks. That's a lot of parade units. A lot. And in fact, here's an interesting thing I brought up, I think today. Kevin, the bird from Up at
Sure.
Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park? That's the exact identical same one that I used to actually tow. When I say tow, I literally had to trail it because it's very delicate. You couldn't put it on a actual trailer and tow it. You had to actually tow it behind manually. And so many of the times I would have to tow Kevin up. So every time, to the parade gate, that is. Today I saw Kevin. I'm like, hey, that's the exact same bird. Lots of memories of Kevin.
Wow. Which parade was that in?
That was at Disney California Adventure. That was the Pixar Play Parade,
Okay.
if I remember correctly.
All right. Anything, any of the floats unique, other than you talked about driving Elliot, but were there any where they said, okay, we need you to start driving this, and you were like, yes, I've made it?
Okay, so here's a quick story that they probably don't want you to know. So the people in charge kind of just went, John could do it. So I kind of got that reputation, but I got to be very careful here. Disney is very by the books, very by the logistical operating guidelines, or the LOGs. So as it turns out, how you are trained in the floats, you actually have to have a trainer. You have to go through the motions for safety, so on and so forth. But at any rate, so a lot of the times, a lot of the people in charge just went, throw them in. So the way I got thrown into Elliott was trial by fire. And then after I went in the gate, the person in charge goes, somebody just told me you were not trained in this float. Is that true? And I go, yeah, I thought you just said get in. And I just got in. And they're like, yeah, it looked like you knew what you're doing. So we didn't say anything. I'm like, okay. And then they said, you're
Wow.
signed off now. So I got to be very careful with that. So please don't share that story. So Yeah, as we're live.
Okay, if you work for Disney, just close your ears. That's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you have a favorite parade to watch?
Oh boy. Now here's where it gets interesting. So this is gonna get juicy. I of course love the Main Street Electrical Parade and Paint the Night, but I am extremely excited for Starlight. So of course for the nostalgia for Electrical Parade, but Paint the Night is just so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching it. Some of the streamers were streaming it, obviously, with the 70th, and man, it just pulls in every direction, right? Because it's just beautiful, and there's all sorts of stuff going on. You've got Tinkerbell up there flying, and then you hear, and I won't remember the name of it. Give me the name of the song from Main Street Electrical Parade.
Baroque Hoedown?
Yes. And you can hear it. You can hear little pieces of it in there, and you're
Exactly.
like, "You're doing it." That's all I needed was just that little bit. So I'm telling you,
Yeah.
they say that we may, it's supposed to pull on that Main Street Electrical Parade. If that's what Starlight does, I'm all in.
I think they're gonna absolutely knock it out of the park.
Do you plan on being there? I'm assuming.
Yeah,
for the
I
opening.
plan on being there on the 20th. So just for reference, I do have a Disney Park Pass reservation already secured.
So do I.
Yeah, we'll see you there.
I was. We knew Corey was going to be there. It didn't matter what day it was going to be. He was going to be there for Disney Starlight, I'm sure.
Yeah.
The news dropped while I was live, and right there I booked it. I don't know where I was, if I was in line in a queue or something like that, but I booked that within seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Better
I have a
safe than
trip.
sorry.
That's right. I have a trip booked, so I'll be there from the 2nd through the 7th of July. And that announcement came out, and I was like, that means I'm not going to be, I can't go if I was just there. And Catherine, my fiance, was like, why don't you do a solo trip for that weekend? And I immediately booked. My hotel is already booked, and my ticket, my park pass reservation is secured. So, yeah, I will be there.
And then you popped in the chat, said you were going to be there on the 6th, if I remember correctly. And then I went, oh my gosh, Lawrence was right. He nailed it.
That's what we thought, right? We thought it was all all falling into place.
We were 2 weeks off, but at least I'll be there to say goodbye to everything over there.
Yeah.
Like my daughter's never been to Tom Sawyer Island, so we got to take her and go do that. So speaking of that, and speaking of D23, of all the announcements we heard at D23, what was your favorite?
Oh boy, you're putting me on the spot here. You're going to have to refresh my memory.
So you
guide
had-
me in a direction.
So you had Cars Land, you had Villains Land.
Sorry,
Monsters,
I'll go Villains. I'm super excited for Villains simply because it's kind of like at Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park. Remember the flying coaster that never materialized for Beastly Kingdom?
Yeah.
My assumption is it's going to be very similar to that, and that is essentially the holy grail when it comes to roller coasters at a Disney park.
I love it. I mean, you think about it. You got the Monsters Door coaster coming, and if you get that, Disney's a really different world. Really different world. So you're a cast member for 22 years. How do you end up in Florida?
Oh, it's simple. I'm an Epcot person, as you know, and I just simply want to be closer to the magic at Epcot. So long story short, I essentially lived an entire lifetime at the Disneyland Resort, and I wanted to start a new chapter here at the Walt Disney World Resort. And you just never know. Maybe one day I could hire into the Walt Disney World Resort, bridge my tenure, if you will, and maybe, electrical water pageant, maybe. Maybe I could have 27 years of seniority. You just never know. How cool would that be?
Oh, man. I love it. And so Epcot's your favorite park. I believe we've talked about this before, and Stream Guardians is your favorite attraction.
I'd call it my most fun roller coaster ever because I got to be careful on the words
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
my most favorite attraction, if you will, is the Haunted Mansion. Yeah.
That was not on purpose, folks. Just happened to be. Oh, I see a monorail in the background. Man, you're right, Corey. That background is
It's
realistic.
stunning, isn't it?
Wow, it's
It's
crazy.
Broadcasting
amazing.
in 8K today.
Yeah, puts mine to shame. So then you become a streamer and get 3,000 fans overnight. How tell me about that.
It's simple. I just wanted to be creative. So I started a YouTube channel in January of 2021. I did vlogs and shorts, a lot of resort reviews. Next thing you know, I'm thinking, I think there's something to this streaming live business. In other words, the interactive chat. That's what I was going after. So I went live just to, test the waters, get my feet wet. And so I just started Googling for the next, literally 2 years, trying to figure out how I could do this effectively. And I was just working on it for many months. I really started getting serious last November when I started doing all the artwork, the animation.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I went live February. In February, essentially, I went live daily. Not every single day, but most days live daily. And I just can't get enough. It's just so much fun. It's just been such a wild and crazy ride. It's been so incredibly cool doing what I do.
And tell us, so a couple things that you do that's different for those of you that don't know Fun to Be Free. John is very interactive and starts his shows with the news of the day. So he has a particular topic that he's going to talk about, and then that gets the chat talking about it. And a lot of times the chat doesn't know about the news that he read. Or the other day, was it yesterday? You did 100 different tips.
Oh, yeah, it was 2 days ago, I think. Yeah.
2 days ago. And, there's all these tips on how to work the parks and how to, really have the best experience in the parks. But then today, what was your topic about today?
Dinosaurs and snacks.
Dinosaurs and snacks. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we went to Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park, and in Dinoland, USA, there's a new excavation snack, where it's a little tiny sugary egg, and you can break it open, and then there was a little dinosaur inside. So we went to go review it, try it. And of course, with dinosaurs, then I went on the world-class attraction called Dinosaur. So dinosaurs and snacks.
So the show always has, and I'm calling it a show, the show always has a theme.
Correct.
You're also very interactive with the chat. And I know that your viewers tend to like that because they don't feel forgotten. How did you come up with that concept?
Oh, it's just simple. People tend to be, people, how should I say? People tend to like being recognized and interact with the host. I think it's just that simple.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it makes it so much fun for me.
So I don't stream a lot from the parks. But I know that I've done it by myself. In fact, Corey and I went to the Christmas party together in November. But I started the stream at 4, and then Corey came after work at 7. So I'm streaming at the park by myself for 3 hours. But I never feel alone because I've got 100, 200, 300 people.
Exactly. They
are interacting with me. So yeah, I totally get where you're coming from with that. Yeah. Corey, he is very tech driven. And in fact, I don't know that you don't have a name for your gimbal, do you, Corey?
No, but my umbrella is famous that covers my equipment. That's umbrella.
That's true. He has an umbrella that covers the equipment, and so it's called Gimbrella.
And let me tell you, man, she does her job. I've been so impressed lately. Last few times out, we've had some downpours, and not a drop on the equipment. She's amazing.
Mayor.
Just the right size. So John has Frankie, which helps him out in the park. So yes, John is never alone because he always has Frankie with him. And you were telling us today about Frankie and how heavy it was because you had to put the battery on. So tell us about you equated it to in soda.
Yeah, it's 4 full cans of soda is what it weighs when I put the large NPF battery on it.
Like, you're just walking around with 4 cans of soda on your hand. Yeah. People don't understand the things that streamers go through. They think it's just, pick up your phone and just go walk around. No, it's a lot different than that. He was telling us today that to make sure that he can get the best quality signal, there's quite a few things that he does. But tell us about one of them.
Okay, so one of those is something called channel bonding. Think of it as water pipes. So if you had only one water pipe, you're not going to get a lot of bandwidth or a lot of water, right? But what if you had 2, maybe 3, or even 4? So guess what Frankenstein Mark 6 has? 4 pipes, 4 water pipes. So what if you took all 4 water pipes, put them together, and you get one giant pipe? So bottom line, I have all 3 U.S. based or domestic carriers. That's of course Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T, plus Disney Wi-Fi. You put them together, and what do you got? You get Frankenstein Mark 6 with ultra high quality, high definition.
Nobody's doing that.
Well, somebody might be. I don't know. I'm just not aware at Walt Disney World Resort. But I can tell you or assure you this: nobody has Frankenstein Mark 6 carrying around in the parks. I can assure you that.
That's right. I mean, the stuff that, and that's why I really wanted to talk to John, because Corey and John both want to bring the highest quality tech that they can to you, and they want to deliver the best quality show, and now I help out with that as well. And so I think you're really just delivering something very, very different to the audience, and I think it's very welcomed in the community. Folks in chat, if you have questions for John, please put a Q in front of it so that I can easily see it, and we will ask John some of those questions. I'm going to turn it over to Corey. You guys can talk a little bit of tech.
Lawrence is definitely correct. Always trying to, my ears always go up if there's an opportunity to bring something to the people that offers higher tech, a better experience, I am all for it. We were voted by Frommer's Travel Guide 2 years in a row as one of the top 10 streams to watch, not only in Walt Disney World, but in the entire world for Disney Parks content. And they called us, what they call us, Lawrence? They called us the most, was it the most professional?
The most commercial? I think they used commercial.
Most commercial channel out there. And I was like, huh. First, I wanted to be defensive. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Okay. Because I want to have fun and loose and create a family atmosphere where people are relaxed with us. But I always also want to represent myself in the channel and my family as professional, because we're trying to do something professional. And sounds like that's what you're doing over there too. So you talked about Frankenstein. Is it Frankenstein?
Yep.
And the four outlets, the 4 signal producers. Are you finding that your stream is does it lag less in certain areas? Is it better than what else people are putting out there?
In my opinion, the quality level coming from the 4 pipes or the channel bonding is far superior, simply because think of it as a diversified portfolio. In other words, if you lose a carrier, you could rely on 2 other carriers. Likewise, if you lose 2 carriers, you still have 1 carrier. If you lose all 3 carriers, you might be on Wi-Fi. When in fact we streamed the Snow White or Seven Dwarfs Mine Train yesterday for the first time, it was really rough in the station, but we were on Wi-Fi, so we had a little bit of weak reception. But have you streamed it, Corey? Seven Dwarfs Mine Train?
Yes. It's funny when you stream a lot in every area. My mind, I can tell you what to do in every inch of Walt Disney World. And sometimes it's out of your control. So a lot of times I hit Wi-Fi when I'm in the queue for Mine Train, and I think I just stay with that because it happens so fast. Outside is fine, cannot perfect inside the mine. From the time you see the first couple of dwarfs, and it clears when you're going up, when you start to go up the hill.
Yep.
Can never hit that. Is that where you had the
Yep.
issue too?
Same thing. So bottom line, it appears what you're talking about, there's just no coverage. There's a gap.
Yeah. Yeah, and certain rides have that. How about Haunted Mansion? I've been struggling all of a sudden over what feels like over a month now, Lawrence,
Okay.
with certain spots in Haunted Mansion. Now, it's always had a couple spots here and there. You get a little lag, it clears up. But it's been rough lately, and I heard other streamers are having difficulties. How about you?
Interesting. Same here. Same here. So it's for me, it's in the stretch room and somewhere around the Hatbox Ghost, it seems like.
Yes, as you turn that corner and you see the eyes on the wall, that's
Yep,
where I start to
right there.
anticipate some drop off.
Yep.
We might get it far enough to where we can get the Hatbox Ghost a little bit. Then there's the at best it's a little bit of a freeze, and then we pick up on the guy to your right in the casket, maybe halfway through.
Yeah, the
And then
conservatory.
typically we're good the rest of the way, but lately it's been there a little bit around Leota.
Okay.
The dining scene seems to be okay.
Okay.
But believe it or not, the first half of the cemetery has been tough.
Okay. So real quick, it's for me, it's the worst is the stretch room. And then it kind of gets better as we go. But that I believe again is due to the three carriers. So we get essentially the three best of three worlds, if you will.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
true.
so with all of those coming together, do you have to do any switching, or it works on its own? Does it know that one isn't carrying and it drops off and the other kicks
Correct.
in on its own, or are you having to manually do something?
Bottom line, I have it set up to go automatic. So as if it functions correctly, Frankenstein Mark 6 will go all automatic with the exception of scene switching, meaning the cameras. So the channel bonding, if they drop off, they should come back automatically. I have had it where the hotspot or the data connections where the two phones talk to each other, they dropped off the cliff. In other words, it disconnected, decoupled. The hotspot became unsynced. When the hotspot becomes unsynced, I have to manually put it back in or lock it on. So that's the difference there. So I'm using the iPhone 16 Pro Max as the hotspot, where I can be using like a GLINet router. However, the challenge there is, of course, the unit's larger, generates more heat, and I'd have to have another battery source. That means a whole nother backpack. So I'm trying to keep it a small package and, of course, as minimal weight as possible. So that's why I'm using the hotspot on the iPhone 16 Pro Max on the streamer phone. Real quick, Corey, the streamer phone I call Iron Frank, and I have Batman and Robin with me as well.
I love it. I love it.
So, did you have a background in this before you started streaming? Like, how did you get in? I mean, because again, most people would just pick up their phone and just go.
Yeah, how did you learn about that? Yeah, how did you
Okay,
learn
bottom
about
line,
that? Is it
I have a business degree, but it's actually information systems and decision sciences. In other words, half PC, half database, half business, if you will.
Okay.
So it's the old management information systems degree. But bottom line, I have a little bit of a tech background, but that was not in regards to live streaming, not in regards to YouTube. But I've always had a passion or a hobby for tech, Corey. And it always essentially it perks my ears up when I hear about new technology. When I heard about channel bonding, I went, "What? You're telling me I could carry three phones wirelessly without an actual router and put them together into one pipe?" And my mind went, and I thought, we're doing this. We're doing this tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds amazing. So, my wheels are turning on this, and it's like I'm thinking, it goes back to kind of what we started talking about. Have you noticed that has benefited you, where it is worth it to do all of that? Like I'm saying that as
Absolutely.
someone who's really interested. Like, is your quality and consistency of not lagging better than what everyone else is
Well,
doing out there? Have you
that's a
compared?
tough call.
because I'll do that, right? I'll say this quick first. Like last night, I just threw on Resort TV 1. I was building Legos with my son. And my wife was watching. I left the room after dinner, but I could kind of still see it. And I heard that Jenna was going on Little Mermaid, and my antennas went up. I said, "Oh, I've been having such difficulties in there. I want to see how she does." And I compared it, and she did just as poorly as I have. So yeah, that's my thought. If I was doing what you were doing, Lawrence knows this, I'd be paying attention to, is this worth it? All the effort in this great idea you've constructed, is it paying off?
Yes, sir, it is. But with that said, remember, there's some spots like we previously discussed. I can't control the cellular data interruptions or the dead spots. All I can do is hope for the best when I have every carrier in my pocket, including Wi-Fi. So
Yeah.
it does benefit the stream. I still lag, but like you said, it's only in those very specific spots, it seems like.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think it has benefited my channel immensely.
Okay. I've always thought this has been at the back of my mind for years, and it would take everyone coming together, and I don't know what it would be, a Discord or whatever, but
Go
how
ahead,
great would it
say it.
be?
Say
Okay,
it.
okay, let's see, because we've never discussed this before. How great would it be if we had a way to all reach out to each other and just know what's going on? Because sometimes, like we're talking about Haunted Mansion, right? Haunted Mansion was fine. We knew a couple of spots where it would lag. Okay, we accept it. We get to see most of the ride, 85% of it or 90%. But then when you turn around and you have a bad night with it, okay, we'll chalk that up. The next night you go out, it's bad again. I take that to heart. I try to keep a positive attitude when I'm live, but I just want to say to the chat, I'm so ticked off right now. I let you down. Like you didn't get to see this. We stood in line for 20 minutes and I let you down. And so it would be good to have a place for all of us to go. I can go in and say, hey, I'm struggling over the last 2 streams of Haunted Mansion, here, and here. Is anyone else having that? Or I can post it. Currently having problems here. So you might go on and go, oh, Corey's having trouble. Let me see what's going on. And then you go, you're aware, and you're like, wow, I didn't have this problem. Let me share with him how to fix it. Or, hey, I'm having the same issue. When people are having the same issue, I don't go, yay, because I want them to fail. I go, okay, I know it's not me. I can take down the stress and just ride it out till it's fixed.
Exactly. So, Corey, that is an excellent idea. I think we need to pursue that more. We are on the same wavelength. Exactly what you said, I'm thinking in my head as I'm going through the motions live. And the way I approach my channel is I want to be welcoming, outgoing, and share the tech and make everybody one big community together. Because you may have heard me say this before, a rising tide lifts all ships, and support your local live stream.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
I have thought of that, and I was actually going to approach Pete about it.
Dude, I was just about to say, who the guy is to push this forward.
Yep.
It's Pete.
Yep.
Pete knows all of us, and he would be glad to do something like that, to make some kind of Discord so we can all go there and enter these issues.
Yeah. So I think we should approach him on that, because I was in, similar to what John just said, I was in church for my nephew's baptism a couple months ago, and I guess it was last year, and the pastor actually has a podcast, right? And he brings all these other people on his podcast. And he said that people always ask him, why do you bring all these other, creators on? And he said, because those at the top collaborate. Those at the bottom compete.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, I've heard that.
So there's no, especially like, okay, you guys might be out at the same time, right? Your 2 channels might be out at the same time. But for the majority of the time, you're actually not. Right, John is daily in the afternoon. All right, so he's got that afternoon, like that drive time, the drive home time, right? And there's people that have the morning shift, and there's people that have late night. And so, if we pull together we could grow the community for all those folks in chat and be able to deliver much better quality for all of them, because at the end of the day, that's who it's for. It's not for the three of us on the screen, it's for everybody in chat. And so I just think that if we focus on that, and you guys are hearing it first here, we're going to work on this. I promise.
Yeah.
We're going to make that happen. So let me bring up some questions here that came up. So Tatum J10 wants to know, how does it feel to be a Disney YouTuber?
Surreal. I never thought I would do this, but real quick, here's the background. So this is a true story. I shared this live before. Remember when YouTube was announced and first came out circa like 2004, 2004, I think it was. And I kept telling my family and friends, I need to quit my job and start doing YouTube videos. And everybody thought, John, you're crazy. You're nuts. How can you monetize? And I go, I'll figure it out. But long story short, I didn't do it because I kept telling everybody, I don't have any talent. I kept saying, you got to have talent to do this. But finally, like I said, I wanted to be creative, and I just went out there and did it. And I thought, I'm going to figure this out. And next thing you know, here we are. So how does
Wow.
it feel? Surreal. Very surreal. In fact, let me share another story. So I was with Magic Adventures, that's spelled MAGIC, Magic Adventures, Mike and Jen. And I watched them before I met them. And so I ran across them in front of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And when I approached them, they said, they were taken back because they thought, there's a guy live and he knows who we are. And I go, of course I know who you are. You're Magic Adventures, Mike and Jen. You do awesome stuff. And next thing you know, I'm in their outro, a very special, touching, intimate moment for both of them. And I'm thinking, I'm literally fanboying it up right now with Mike and Jen. And I just literally watched them live just moments before, I went to the Magic Kingdom. And I thought that was just a special moment. So that's another example how it just became so surreal and full circle for me.
Yeah. Wow. Let's see. Not So Scary Mary TV says, John, do you have a favorite park to stream in?
I do. Everybody knows this. It's Epcot.
I mean, I would think, most of us have a favorite park, so it's also the favorite park to stream in. But I guess maybe if it was tough, if you battled a lot of lag, you'd be like, well, it's a lot easier at Magic, even though I'd rather be hanging out at Epcot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So real quick, the data reception at Epcot, I feel, is far superior to the rest of the parks on the property. And of course, I enjoy Epcot. I know Epcot better. Epcot is obviously laid out so easy to navigate.
Yeah.
I would agree with you with Signal on that too. There are days I walk away saying after a 6-hour stream, wow, we had zero problems.
Yep.
So I would agree with that.
Yeah. Dole Whip Dave. I almost had some Dole Whip today, Dave. Dole Whip Dave says, does John have a regular schedule of days he streams live?
I do, Dole Whip Dave. It's 2 p.m. daily Eastern until the batteries die on Frankenstein Mark 6. Sometimes we get out pyro or fireworks or happily ever after. Sometimes we sign off early. It just depends on if it's hot and how the Frankenstein Mark 6, the camera rig's reacting. It's as simple as that.
That heat puts that just, man, that heat will bring your batteries down real quickly.
Wow, there's a youngster that's very, very interested in what's going on back there.
I was looking at that. Randy says, what's your favorite Disney memory as a cast member, guest, and streamer?
Oh, this is interesting. So as a cast member, I'm going to cheat. There was a cast blast in 1998 with the new Tomorrowland. At Disneyland, in Tomorrowland, there's Star Tours. They had a cast blast where we were invited into the Star Tours pit so you could go below the actual Star Tours cabins and watch them cycle. We got a backstage tour how the actual film, the film traveled on the spools, the sprockets on the backside of the cabin. And so we were able to watch the vehicle cycle right in front of our faces. So that was my favorite moment as a cast member. That's a cheat, though. That's a cheat. But I thought I couldn't have that moment unless I was a cast member.
Yeah.
But of course, streaming. Now I'm going to sound cliche. What I enjoy the most is when I'm at Epcot, of course, in front of Spaceship Earth, and I do the intro. and I'm literally standing in front of the speaker with the amazing background music or the BGM,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sitting there and I'm pinching myself and I'm going, "This is what I do. I love every moment of this. I'm at Epcot, which I love, and I'm literally standing in front of the speaker with the background music that I adore. And then I hit go live, and the first thing I see is all of my biggest fans in the chat. Brrrr, when it populates, and it just doesn't go like one. It goes, brrrr,
Yeah.
and I go, this is such a cool moment. And then I just start interacting, and we're off to the races. So there you go. I hope I answered that question.
Love it. Love it.
That's one of my biggest chill moments. For anybody that doesn't know, we actually had a documentary film done of us, and over the last 6 years of the channel, now into our 7th. And there's a scene in the beginning of the film where you see me at Epcot, and I am about to start the stream, and it's a behind-the-scenes shot of how it goes. And I say, "Okay, we're going." It's giving me the chills now. We're going live. And then there's a whole screenshot of the camera, and it says, "In the chat will come in," and then boom, they start coming in, and it's giving me the chills right now. What a moment, right? It's such a great
I'm
moment
feeling it.
to see everybody
I'm
come
feeling
in
it
when
too.
you go live. Yeah,
It's so
it's a good thing.
special that we could take everybody in the chat with us. It's so neat.
I know, and I have to I'm just conscious of it, and I shouldn't even care. But there's so much love on our channel, especially towards the end. It's like we've shared a day together, we've shared an entire night, and I'm just so thankful that people come in every night. And if I start a stream, I started a stream at 12:15 at Hollywood Studios Saturday, and we went all the way to like 10:30 at night at Epcot. And you know who's there all the time. Now, we're grateful for people who just pop in for 10 minutes. Don't get me wrong, but the ones that are there from start to finish, it's like
Yeah.
you're just so grateful, and we just really try to accentuate that at the closing of our streams. And sometimes I go, God, how many people think that I'm just being corny right now? But I'm not. It's heartfelt. It's like, thank you so much for sharing this. I feel like I've taken you all day today in the palm of my hand, and we did so much today, and it was so much fun. So
Yeah, I agree. I concur. Right there with you, including the chills. When you said you got the chills, I still
Yeah.
had the chills from talking about the chat, how cool that moment is.
yeah, it's really cool.
Amazing.
I think you have some more questions there, Ron. I mean, Ron. I just saw Ron in there. Ron, Yukon Ron. But yes, we see a very good mix of my community, your community. If you're enjoying this, definitely subscribe to John. Subscribe to us over here at Living in Diz. We're live Wednesday nights, all day Saturday. We do something that nobody does. I don't think anybody does. Nobody's still doing a family, right? We've been doing this is our 7th year of a family, a husband, a wife, 2 kids. They're growing up a little bit now. They're not the Simpsons, so they're fading a little bit. But yeah, we do this podcast. We just have just tremendous love for what we do, along with John. So subscribe to both channels for sure.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
more questions?
And if one of our mods can drop John's link in the chat. John is fun to be free on YouTube. So Sharon wants to know.
I'm gonna interrupt you for a second, because I had this question earlier today, and while I have it in my head, you know how easily they can fall out. Good thing I have the headphones on, because it stays in a little bit longer. Fun to be free. I think I know where you got that from. Where did the name come from?
Real simple. Epcot, World of Motion. World of Motion has its theme song. It's fun to be free, to be on the move. You got it.
Wow.
I even have the sea serpent on the banner.
Ah, see? Yep. That's what stood out to me. I'm like, I think he got that from the song. So there you go. Very cool.
Yeah. I'm an Epcot man.
Love it. Sharon wants to know, how many batteries do you need for that setup?
Okay, so I use an NPF battery, Nancy Paul Frank. It's more along the lines of a professional battery. So I carry 3 on my person. 2 are smaller in size. 1 is very large. The larger one can actually charge the 2 smaller ones. So in my pocket at all times, the big one's charging at least one of the small ones, and I have another one on my camera rig that I call Frankenstein Mark 6. So the names of my batteries are Blue, or You're My Boy Blue, Orange Bird, and Doc. Of course, Blue because it's blue, Orange because it's Orange Bird, or orange, and Doc is because big NPF battery. This is heavy, Doc, just like Back to the Future. Dr. Emmett Brown. So I go around sometimes and I go, here, you want to hold Doc? Tell me how heavy this is. And people go, oh my gosh, this is heavy. I go, yeah, I carry it around in my pocket all day. You know what it's
Wow.
like to write Guardians with Doc on there? Yeah, don't ask.
Or have you done Tower of Terror with Doc on?
Oh, absolutely.
So we use Corey and I have a similar setup, and so our phone is in a gimbal, and then we have our secondary phone that we can read chat with and all that kind of stuff and see what the viewers are seeing down in essentially a harness, a bike harness that's connected to the gimbal. So I'm on Tower of Terror, and I want to say it was the first time I've ever streamed it, and we drop, and I see my phone, because I was streaming with his phone this way, and I see my phone just float up. But I grabbed it right away with my other hand. I was like, okay.
I never heard that story.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh,
My phone
man, I
just
have never lost
floats away.
equipment. It's amazing. I've never lost any equipment. I don't know. I always want to say to the start. I said this. I say this now and then. And I understand totally what they're getting at. But we were on Soren, and the cast member was like, "Make sure you hold on to that."
Yeah.
I go, yeah, thousands of dollars of equipment. I'm gonna have a pretty good grip on this.
Yeah. They're pretty funny about that. So Theme Park Giant, we answered this earlier, but when you say there's 4 pipes, is Wi-Fi the 4th? And it is.
That's right, Theme Park Giant. You got it. Wi-Fi is the 4th pipe. So we'll restate this. So AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, that's 3 pipes, plus the Disney Wi-Fi, that's your 4th pipe. Yep, you got it.
So speaking of the pipes, is there one carrier that stands out above the rest for you?
Yes, sir.
T-Mobile.
No, it's actually AT&T in my opinion, because AT&T is a partner with the Walt Disney World Resort, and it's clear as day when I watch the metrics come across live. AT&T is always the clear winner, always.
That's good to know.
Wow. I've seen your setup a few times in the parks now. Before I knew who you were, I remember we were leaving Galaxy's Edge near the Droid Depot, and you popped over to the side, and
Yeah,
you said, "Oh, we
exactly.
got a big entourage." I remember that, and then off you went, and we were like, "Oh, who is that?" and Lawrence knew. So, yeah, come over and say hi next time. I'd like to,
Absolutely.
out of curiosity, I'd like to see what you're talking about. And I am not replicating that, by the way. My setup was stolen years ago, and no one ever gave. I don't want credit, but no one ever gave me credit for it. Now you've seen a few people with the double phone setup and all that. Mine was stolen, and I discovered that in one night, 2 streamers, and I went over and said, "Wow, that's a really nice setup. Thank you," they said. I said, "Oh, okay, all right." I've never forgotten that, but it's flattery, I guess.
That's right. So Leo, Epcot fan, ask, do you miss the life of a cast member?
I do. I used to look forward to going to work, if you will, being a cast member, making magic, especially driving the floats in the parades. What I really miss the most about the Disneyland Resort is seeing the daily construction updates. So John would fun to be free. This guy, he likes minute details, including paving, concrete. Anything that's new, I'm all over it. I am a nerd. I am a geek when it comes to updates and new construction at Disneyland or the Walt Disney World Resort. So I miss that aspect. Working there, I got to see a little behind the scenes. I miss that. But of course, I'm telling you flat out, being a cast member truly is magical, making the magic for the guests. But being a live streamer, there is nothing else like it, especially like we talked about in the chat, the goosebumps you feel when you're interacting with people from around the world in moments. It's amazing.
So you did attractions first, and you did that for how
Correct.
long?
5 years in attractions, and the rest of my time was in parades and show support. So the majority of all the years in service was working the parades. Yep.
So in attractions, you're guest facing, right? But then for a lot of time in the parades, you're not. Did that take
Correct.
something away from the experience?
The answer is yes and no. So here's how I approach that. So in attractions, yes, you are always on stage, front line, if you will, direct sight of guests, where you help them one on one. Where backstage you were removed from the guests. But I circumvented that by spending a lot of time on stage when I was on break or lunch. I would walk through the park. I'd gather all of my friends and we'd just take walks. And then the guests would approach us. And I was more than happy to answer questions.
That's a good way to circumvent that. That's good. Yeah, if I was, I mean, I did 25 years in retail and then new home sales. I've been in for 8 years. If I went to a, office desk or, I'm in a pharmaceutical warehouse or something like that, it would drive me crazy not to have that interaction. So maybe I would move to Florida and become a live streamer. Let's see. John, Sonic asks, John, why do you always tell us you have an ugly mug? You don't put yourself down like that. There you go.
I self-deprecate. That's all it is. I think it's a good show. I'm not putting myself down. I'm just, I'm being a character of myself, shtick, if you will. That's all. I really don't think I look that bad. I'm not grotesque or anything. I'm not the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Like we all say, we have a face for radio, right?
Oh, I say it too.
That's what I was thinking.
But Sonic, I appreciate you being in the chat every day, dude. Thank you for being here.
And Sonic is always there. Yes. Michelle wants to know: does anyone have the link to John's channel? If someone can put that in, it's fun to be free on YouTube. We'll get that link for you there, Michelle. Scooter wants to know, and Scooter Adventures, good to see you. Another live streamer down there in the parks. John, why do you feel the need to name all of your gear?
Oh, it's very simple. 2 reasons, Scooter. I can keep track of it in my head very simply. In other words, when I go to gather my gear, I have so much in my pockets when I grab everything. I find it challenging to know where everything is unless I go, oh, there's Orangebird, there's Blue, there's Doc, there's Frank. And the microphone, so I got Frank and Mike. You get it?
Love it.
So it's that simple. It's that simple. Plus, in addition, we named Orangebird with the help of the chat. The chat loved it.
See? I like it. Christopher Chavez wants to know, John, why do you always see my name in the chat whenever you stream at any park?
Like, why do I always see it? Well, it pops up. You put it there. I don't.
But John also reads every chat. He wants everyone in chat to be involved and not feel left out. Is me as a viewer. That's what I'm seeing. Am I correct there?
Bingo.
Okay.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Jalen wants to know. He says, John, Epcot is a good ride.
Epcot is an amazing park, Jalon. As you're aware, it's my most favorite park in the entire world. I quickly want to mention, though, I do enjoy Disneyland. Disneyland is very charming, but Epcot is very special to myself. I'm just a big Epcot fan when it comes to the history.
All right. So speaking of history, Yukon Ron wants to know, what attraction do you miss the most, which is no longer in existence at Disney World?
Oh, this is simple. At Walt Disney World, in Epcot, we are missing Horizons, all shining and new. It's just, that's the one thing that really gets me, is that, Horizons was replaced by Mission Space. Come on, Michael Eisner, come on.
We show, on our post show, we show older attractions that are retired, nighttime spectaculars from around the world, and older ones as well. And Horizons was one that people had been waiting for a long time. So I was glad to bring them that.
Exactly.
Recently.
Come on, a suspended Omni mover system? You have me right there.
Yeah, love that one. Let's see. Not So Scary says, well, they put a question, but I'll it's not a question. says, I subscribed. We love John, and now we love you too. Thank you very much, Mary. Appreciate that.
Yes, thank you so much, Mary. We appreciate that for sure. I mentioned that in chat.
She's a great mod over on John's channel for sure. Tape Mate J says, have you heard of Discord? We have, and that's why we were talking about it. It's funny though, the three of us are not in the Discord generation. But we're gonna figure it out because we're very techy, so we will figure it out.
Pete does know how to set up Discord though, I think, unless he got help.
Okay.
Pete's been into Discord for a while.
All right. And my mom wants to know, do you get stopped at security with all that heavy metal?
Yes and no. So I've discovered the secret. I hold Frankenstein Mark 6 out in front of me as far as I can, and then I take my 3 batteries, Doc, Orangebird, and of course Blue, and I hold them as far back or behind me. That's the whole trick of the trade. You separate all the metal.
I've never seen anybody. I always hold my, my phone, my battery. I'll hold everything out in front. The other thing that I always get stopped with is this bag.
Oh.
That's why I stopped bringing buttons in, you know?
Little keychains that I give out to cast members, and it always gets me stopped unless I hold it out in front. So,
right. And just like an eyeglass case, that's the #1 culprit going through security when it alerts.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah, exactly right.
Which is a simple solution to all of this. And I'm telling you, I'm holding on to an episode of our podcast. What companies do things best? Universal, Disney. There are so many. And one of them that stands out is security. How easy is it to go through Universal? You take your bag off, you put it on the rollers, you put your phone in the container, it rolls through, you grab your stuff and go. Been through to Universal a million times, never been stopped or questioned. Bring the same content into the parks every day that I'm there, and it's a crapshoot if you're gonna get stuck.
It's all placement. It's all placement. I'm telling you right now.
I'm telling you too. You know what they told me going into the Magic Kingdom one time? Oh, well, hold it more to the left side, and you actually had the monorail coming overhead, and that will set it off easier.
Yes,
I'm like,
does.
What?
No, it does.
Not know that?
Contemporary. They stop you now. They won't allow you to go through the machine unless the monorail is no longer in motion.
Wow.
Because
so
it gives false positives.
I didn't know that.
That's much appreciated. Yeah.
Good to know. So, so you're at 3,000 subscribers now. When you started out live streaming, did you do all the tech? Did you do all of the graphics that you do now, or has it built up over time?
So bottom line, before I went live, I created an entire library of content or assets, and I just wanted to have anything I could pull from. So for example, menus. I've created menus for every quick service and every table service dining location on resort property. And we're talking, I stopped counting in the neighborhood of 300 for all the different pieces of artwork and assets. And I have never premiered more than probably 10% because I get into a routine in the way I do my live streams. I feel like it stalls the pace of the live stream if I pop up the menus on screen. So there's a lot of content that you've never seen before that I've never displayed.
You took all that time to build it up to be ready to bring it to the folks, and then ended up not using it. But you put a lot of work into that.
Yep, and it's all on standby. So in the event I'm there, like today, the first time I used Dino Bites, the menu was today. But it's been sitting there all along. It's just I had no desire, no need to go to Dino Bites because I'd always go to, say, Restaurantosaurus.
Yeah. Wow. Do you get axed in the park when you're in the parks? Because this happened to Corey the other day. I think because Tammy had her pass holder shirt on. Somebody said, "Oh, you're a pass holder. You look like you know what you're doing." And then they asked her a question. Does that happen to you a lot? Do you get asked questions?
I really don't get asked questions except for who is this guy and what is he holding and why is he standing in front of me yelling at the top of his lungs and who is he talking to? That's what I get asked.
Yeah, yeah. What is that? What do you work
Exactly.
for? Yeah, yeah.
Because you've
I
seen
always
it in the mirror.
say,
I'm sure. Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna say, I always say, there's so many people, unless people, sometimes there's people off camera. I notice every stream, there's definitely there's a number of people that wave or stare because they are interested in what you're doing. But then there's also the others who scowl at you because of what you're doing. So there's a lot of those reactions that don't get noted when I'm
Yeah.
walking around, but
Yeah.
maybe the
It's
audience
very
sees a little bit more.
polarizing.
Yeah,
Yes. And I
yeah.
can tell too when people want to be on camera. I'm thinking of cast members in particularly. There are times where I can just see it in their body language or something they're starting to say to me, and I'll go right to them, and they love it. They absolutely love it.
But you're right. It is polarizing because there are times when people. Well, it happened to you today. I don't know if anybody caught it, but I did. Where people, what are you showing? Why is it on your screen? Blah blah blah. It's like
Yeah,
I'm
you
not.
saw it.
We're not trying to do anything weird. Just film in the parks. People happen to be in the parks. I don't know what to tell you. Oh yeah. See, Gen W is asking along that same line. Do you ever have people get mad at you for filming them?
The answer is yes, occasionally, but it's surprisingly very, very rare and very limited.
Yeah. Well, I see a lot of times on Facebook. I'm in a lot of Disney Facebook groups, and a lot of times people will say, streamers taking over the parks, and they're clogging they're clogging up the quick serve line or the new food booth for an Epcot festival, blah blah blah. And I'm like, where do you see that? Typically, it's one person with a gimbal. They're in front of them. They're not holding the gimbal out way over here, taking out full wingspan. It's right here in front of them. And they're one person walking around the parks. You know how many times I walk through the parks and Catherine will be like, "Oh, there's Josh." I'm like, "Oh, where?" You don't notice, for the most part, streamers walking through the parks. But people, I don't know. That's getting into the whole psychology of it. Christopher Solis wants to know, do you have a favorite window on Main Street?
Oh, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
The answer is no, I really don't have a favorite window. I've never actually thought about that. Real quick, I'll guide you back to Epcot. Everything at Epcot literally is my favorite. So that's the best way to answer that question.
I like it. Okay.
Just real quick, I want to mention, I've shared this before, but you've probably seen the T-shirts, and it says there are two types of people, and it has a picture of the castle and
Yeah.
Spaceship Earth.
Yeah.
Clearly, I'm a Spaceship Earth person.
Yeah. Spaceship Earth is my favorite park. It is Corey's as well. But Magic is a close second, if I remember correctly.
Do you know me?
Apparently, I don't.
Do you know? You don't know me. This goes along with my personality. I have a hard time making decisions, and picking the favorite parks and ranking them is no different. So I do this. We're splitting hairs when I say this. I gotta just lean with Magic because it's the OG. From there though, I've got to go Hollywood still just a little bit by another hair, 0.001. And then it's Epcot, right there too. I love all three in their own way. So I don't like to pick a favorite, but if I have to, it's Magic first. I love Epcot for its uniqueness. It's a total different mindset when we're there. I do love Epcot, Lawrence. You might have talked me into like second place right now. Because what do I listen to most for park music loops?
Yeah.
It's Epcot. I'm not lying. I was off for 4 days straight. Well, I'm always off Saturday, Sunday, but I tacked on some extra days Friday and Monday this week, and I did a lot of work around the house. And there was a lot of hours logged in for music loops for Epcot and no other park. So, and John was talking about the listening to the music when he starts his stream. We always start our stream there, we always end our stream there, and that gives me a little extra energy. It really pumps me up to have this Epcot type of music behind me. and just do the intro. I'm like, wow, this is just like it was made for the intro. It's really a great spot to be.
So
yeah, Leo says Epcot. Leo Epcot fan 21 says no contest for me. It's because it's in your name.
Yeah.
You can't change it. You were forced to like Epcot. It's part of your name.
Yeah, sorry, bro. So let's talk a little bit about the news that came out this morning. I can tell you, I was driving to work, and I got to a stop sign, and it popped up on the notifications, and so I had to pull over and post about it on Facebook. So we have a closing date for Rivers of America, Tom Sawyer Island, and the Liberty Bell, and it's going to be July 6th will be the last day. July 7th, there will be no more of those attractions to make way for Piston Peak, which is the name for that they're giving that area for the Cars Land. So what's your thought on all that news today, John?
Well, like I said before, Disney World seems to always fall into lockstep with September or January for attraction closures. But my assumption is they're onto something different. How do I say this delicately? I don't think the attendance is coming in as strong as they would like it to be for 4th of July. Therefore, they're pulling, an ace out of their sleeve and they're going, hey, we got this river closing. Because all I'm suggesting is if it was truly going to be massively crowded in Magic Kingdom for 4th of July weekend, they would have put a cap in place and they would have said no more guests are coming. However, don't you find it weird that they made an announcement saying, oh, by the way, we have, a large portion of our actual infrastructure closing. And as everybody is aware, when something closes at either Disneyland or Walt Disney World, a lot of the locals, the annual pass holders, come out of the woodworks and they have to visit for that last time, obviously. So I'm just suggesting if the attendance was off the charts, record breaking, it wouldn't be closing 4th of July weekend. That's all I'm suggesting.
Yeah.
Totally buy into that 100%. Disney does nothing by accident. So I like it. I agree with that.
Now, so they also announced the railroad will be closing that same day on the full loop. So the Frontierland station will be closing, and it's going to operate in a shuttle mode between Main Street and Fantasyland, going back and forth. And they're actually going to modify some of the benches so that they're, facing both ways because some people can't ride facing backwards.
So the train's going to go backwards?
The train is going to go backwards.
Wow.
Yeah.
So counterclockwise.
Yeah. And it'll get to Fantasyland, and it'll go straight to Main Street, and then it'll get to Main Street and go backwards to...
It's kind of like being at MCO or the Orlando International Airport. The shuttle is about to depart. Dun dun.
So, and that's going to be for a while because my assumption is that they're closing it because they've got to bring in the equipment and take out the equipment for Piston Peak. But then don't you then also have to deal with villains? So this is probably going to be a lengthy closure.
Oh, yeah. So my assumption is the first phase obviously is going to be demolition. The second phase will be infrastructure development. And my assumption is they'll do all the infrastructure. I don't know. I don't have any inside knowledge. I'm just saying all the background infrastructure for multi-land use will be done at the same time, probably for cost savings measures.
Okay. I could see that. You develop phase 1 and phase 2 at the same time, and then you get to work on building phase 1, and then phase 3 is
cars.
ready. Yeah.
And then phase 4 is villains. But villains, I'm making this up. Villains could be making it up 7 years away still.
I pray it isn't, but you could be right. You could be right.
And Universal will be opening up their 5th park. Oh, frustrating.
The other, there was another piece of news about DVC and the crackdown on people selling their points. Have you heard about that one, John?
Briefly, I don't have any details. I saw the headlines, but please enlighten me.
So yeah, it looks like they're going to be watching DVC and how often essentially a family uses their points for them and sells all of their points. They don't want somebody who owns DVC to never visit the parks is essentially what they're doing and just be renting out their points. I'm not DVC, so I don't know how I would feel about that. I mean, I'm sure it's got to be a balance, but if you're using 90% of your points to sell or rent to somebody else, I think that's going to be a problem for Disney.
Yeah.
So
Why is it a problem? What am I missing? And is Disney? Are we alluding that Disney might try to stop this?
yeah,
And what do
so,
they care? What do they care if
so there's going to
someone's-
be measures put in place, and I'm sure there'll be different levels to it, but it's the same thing. Like people say, well, Disney just wants to sell merchandise. They're in the business of selling merchandise. They don't care about the resale.
the shoppers that come in and leave with 52 popcorn buckets.
Right. But they
You
do
and I
care
share the
to an
same brain. I was thinking
extent.
the same thing.
They do care to an extent about those folks because they are then disappointing 50 guests that are coming into the parks that can't buy that because the reseller is gone to buy them all so that they can sell them on eBay. In a similar fashion, not to that extent, but it's almost like remember when they cracked down on the VIP tours, people that were doing third-party tours in the parks? I think this is along that line. They don't want people coming in and making money off of Disney and not doing the experience themselves.
Nailed it.
That's to me is what this is, Again, I'm not
So
DVC.
what do you think they'll do to solve that? Put it in the contract, like you are restricted from doing this?
Oh yeah. If it's not already in the contract, I mean, Lord only knows how long that contract is. If it's not already in the contract, it's coming. It's coming.
I mean, they can do it. They can do it.
Yeah. Yeah, they will.
But does that hurt sales? If you're like, wow, I'm really bound to this. I mean, you shouldn't buy DVC if you don't intend to use it, all the time. We all come into play, I'm not DVC either, but if you have it, you do come into moments where, hey, I just can't use this. I need to have an option to sell it off. Maybe they should make it an option where you get to hold on to your points a little bit more or a little bit longer if you are unable, rather than lose them.
Yeah. Yeah. Tiki
middle
Man
ground.
fan says he loves John's chosen location for this interview. That does make sense, Tiki Man fan.
Oh, it's just a green screen.
Yeah, that little girl that was standing behind you. We don't know
Just
what
goes along with all the tech,
That's right. That's right. It's crystal clear, amazingly. And then there was another piece of news. I don't have the specific date. I want to say it was August 8th was the date. I know it was August, was the closure of, over in the other park in Universal, Rip Ride Rocket.
Yes. Not sad to see that go, and I'll say why. It's a fun coaster. It's fast. Love the opportunity to choose your own music to ride through it. That was all great. A little bit of a rickety coaster, though. It would definitely mess with my neck and probably give me a potential headache for a few hours. So didn't like that part of it, but nothing like going up on your back for so many stories and just looking around and being like, whoa. So there's some definitely great things about it, but I'm happy to see what they put in place of it. Hopefully it's something good. They haven't announced.
Nothing announced.
Normally, right, John, we're used to, if we're taking something away, we've told you what we're putting in its place. So I don't know if they don't know. They have to know. So why aren't we saying
They're calculated. They know. The marketing team is carefully going to announce them on very specific dates.
Yeah, and they may be watching their competitor, right? We're going to hold this one, and we're going to wait because that's
Well,
what
I'm
we
going to
do.
say they're so calculated. They knew all these exact dates for announcements a year and a half ago.
Yeah. John, have you been to Epic?
No, sir.
No. Any?
I'm dying to go. I'd love
Okay.
to go. It's just, we got to get there. Time.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your thought on annual passes? I've been hounding on the fact that we're going to hear something by fall. I'm gonna stick by
Oh,
it because that's what I keep saying. Because they
you
need
you
us.
nailed it. You nailed it. Kids go back to school, they're going to be begging you to buy an annual pass.
Mhm. And do you
That's very
think your
true.
would your guess be that they'll, for those of us that are annual pass holders for Universal and Islands, do you think that it'll just be an add-on option, or do you think it'll be something all by itself?
That's a tough call because I think Universal, I'm making this up. I don't have any inside knowledge, but their data may not have arrived yet. They're gathering data yet still, right? The last time they have any data on a second park was all the way back from 99. So they have no recent data on this.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Do you think that the previews help them gain some data?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So they are very calculated as well. For example, the cap on attendance I heard was the 27,500. Very well done. Because you always hear stories like Disneyland day one, women's high heel shoes sinking into the yeah, into the asphalt.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they don't want those stories. So I think they knocked that one out of the park with that.
yeah.
And now they're slowly increasing the attendance or the cap.
Yeah, and this is another thing I've been saying all along. Like, if this was a cap, sure, the numbers look great right now. The wait times are low, but I feel like it could also backfire for them because where other people are saying this is a big park, I disagree. I don't think it's a big park. I think it's a small park, and I think it's going to easily yield 120-minute wait times for everything, and it's going
Yep.
to frustrate people.
Yep. I
I
think
love
you're
it
right.
though. Epic is amazing. I'm a big fan.
And there's
No,
also
they
not a lot of attractions, right? It's not like you're going to Magic with 40 attractions in it.
well, but I see it differently. For example, Disney California Adventure only opened with 3 major attractions. So I'm just saying, Universal Epic Universe is above the grade. Their capacity
Oh.
is large. However, their footprint is quite small in on-stage square footage.
Mm,
Yeah,
okay.
and a lot of their rides are like Peter Pan. It's low capacity to load. Yoshi's is couple people per unit. There's others too. There's others, but there's a lot of low capacity rides which are going to push up the wait times as well. It's funny.
Uh,
It's funny theme parks don't think about that stuff more, right? How can we
Well,
load
they
more
know.
people?
There's formulas. They're calculated.
Okay.
The Universal
Okay.
Creative is knows what they're doing. I assure
Yeah.
you, they have formulas for everything.
mhm.
Nothing's done by mistake for sure with
Nope.
these companies.
They're very calculated. For example, here's what I do know. Disney has 70 years or 7 decades worth of data. See what I'm saying?
Good point. So Sonic has another question and says, "Do you ever get scared that you might not have the very best stream that you wanted?"
I wouldn't say it's scared is the good word. For example, today we had some minor tech issues and we were probably delayed a few minutes today. So the word I wouldn't say is not scared, but just um, I just have to roll with the punches. That's the best phrase, I think, because tech issues are expected. And my chat family is very understanding, and they wait, and they'll wait, and they'll wait patiently. And I'm trying to get online as soon as I can.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the dedicated ones are going to be there, and a lot of times in chat, they're bringing those that are new along. Hey, just hang in there. He's going to be right back. Don't worry. You know, it happens, right? It happened to us the other day, Saturday. We would have a glitch, and he would come back. Corey would come back, and that same number is right there. And I'm like,
Yeah.
the audience held. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah,
to
no
me.
matter what there are nights where they don't though, and you can carry that with you if you let it bother you. You got to let it just roll off you and just move on, and trust that they'll come back. Or if they don't, then that group of people just weren't that interested anyway. But if they were interested, they're going to come back. But yes, we held those solid numbers on Saturday, no matter what happened. Saturday was Epcot, and it was like a nightmare for me on the tech side. If we had major lag, I don't know, Lawrence, I'll say 6 times. Two of them were my fault. Sometimes I'm just so into what's happening, I forget to take it off Wi-Fi as we leave an attraction and walking around. Then I'm like, oh, why are we lagging? Let me check. I'm on Wi-Fi, and I'll go rookie mistake. Sorry, everyone. But my phone also decided to turn on Wi-Fi on its own, which it's never done before. It did that twice to me, and then just a couple of glitches, just normal stuff. But the audience just came right back, so that made me happy. You dropped to 59 people. You're like, all right, let me bring it back and see what happens, and then boom, it shot right up again. So it was a good day.
Randy says, knowing what you know now, what would you change or do differently?
Boy, that's an interesting question. I've thought about that. So the answer is, Randy, I don't think I'd change a single thing. There's, of course, I feel like I've gotten better or more experience at doing what I do. But looking back, I don't think I'd change anything because the most important part is the chat, the interactivity of it. Bottom line to me, the most important, I repeated myself, obviously, 90% of everything is just interacting with the chat. I think it's just that simple.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, I said to my wife Tammy last year, the year before, I was like, if we won $5 million, would we still stream? And she said, absolutely we would, because that's our community. And I said, I totally agree with that. I would never leave my community. And that's the thing about, you could be a successful channel and just do vlogs, but you don't have a community in the sense of communicating with each other. It's very different. It's very, very
live,
different.
real time.
And Corey started out as a vlogging channel,
Yeah, we did. I mean, I think we had a year and a half under our belt before we decided, and it was a tough transition for me. I didn't want to let go of those vlogs, and it started to go from 90% vlogs and these short streams. Lawrence knows all of our streams. We do our relive in Diz, we call it, on Sundays. We've been replaying. Yeah, we've been replaying our old streams because there's just such a difference that you see in the quality, but especially in the kids. My kids were very young, and now they're higher level teenagers at this point, almost out of teens. So that's a really cool thing to have replayed. But what was I getting to? I just got off track with that example.
That you were vlogging before streaming.
Oh yeah, So I didn't want to let go of it, but our streams were like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then maybe one less vlog, and then it just grew. It just changed. It just changed from a little bit of vlogs to a lot more streaming to all streaming, where now and then, if we have an opportunity to vlog something, because I still love vlogging. I love it. I love editing. But it's just not the main driver. And you know what it turns into, John? It turns into this. It's like, we did an amazing vlog for Epic. It was like 57 minutes long. I loved it. It came out great. And I haven't even checked on it, but it's over 1,000 views. But with all the time invested for the entire day of doing it, and then hours of editing and loading it in and doing the premiere, you get 1,000 views, but you walk off on Saturday after doing Epcot and you have 7,000 without having to do one extra thing. So it's hard to keep that up. If that was my main job, then I would vlog and live stream. Oh, I would run this thing like a top, Lawrence. Oh, there's so many things. I just can't do it. I wish I could.
John, how did you decide to start your channel? What was it, or should I say, what were the influences? Were there other channels that you looked at? Did you stay at home watching live streams, or did it go back to the beginning of YouTube and your family saying, just go do it?
No, well, really, it's this simple. I consumed YouTube in large amounts, and I watched many, many channels, and I had my favorites. So I started it like a vlog. And then eventually I'm like, no, I really want to jump into the live stream, like I keep saying over and over again, because the interactivity from anybody around the world in that moment, real moment in time. So it's that simple.
Someone asked, do you prefer in the chat, the interactivity, do you prefer the comments or do you prefer questions?
Oh, it doesn't matter. I prefer everything. I think my chat family, they have a whole range, including jokes. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
Just
I love when that they get you. You know.
Yo, sometimes I step right in it.
We're talking to John with Fun to Be Free. We want to welcome both of our communities and anyone else popping in. Definitely subscribe to John. Definitely just subscribe to us. Two great channels out there doing the best for you and bringing the best with tech. I mean, no one else is doing it like we're doing it. So it's been really good to sit down with you and talk some tech, because I always thought graphics was a more professional thing. I love sharing visual examples with our audience, and I've been told by others, don't do this. This is probably holding back the growth of the channel. And I'm like, no, I want to do this. This is because no one else is doing it. I said, exactly. I want to do it because no one else is doing it.
Yeah. Michelle wants to know, do you have a favorite holiday?
Huh. It's when two holidays collide, just like, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Speaking of that, have you done the parties over here?
I have actually not attended the private parties here. It's very simple.
Yeah, no question about it. Everybody wants to go to the first one. Everybody wants to go to the last one, and those are like $239 each.
Yep.
That's quite a bit of money.
A little pricey.
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes, John, you just got to say, what, let the other people handle that, and I'll just sit back and I'll do my.
I'll go to Epcot that day.
Yeah,
I totally get it. Every year, I start out by saying, yeah, I'm not going to go this year, and then it turns out to, well, maybe you should go once, and then next thing you know, I'm going twice. But it is very pricey, for sure. I saw another question here, Lawrence, that I think was directed to me. Do I love podcasting? Absolutely. And podcasting was made so much more fun. I have a radio background, although it be short. It was the first profession that I did. And just when it started to become popular a few years ago, I decided, whoa, it's this easy to get on and just talk in front of a microphone. So I gave it a try, and yes, I absolutely love it. And to do it with my partner right here has been 1,000 times better. When I first started, it was me talking to the microphone, and which is fine, but this is so much more fun, and to do it live has been phenomenal.
Yeah, and John, your channel is kind of on that same realm, right? You talk about why you talk to the chat, why you put the graphics up the way you do, why you do the news segment that you do in the beginning.
I'm just very unique, and I think I just bring a different offering to the table. Like I said before, I focus on news, weather, and traffic. And I think most channels just focus on parade shows, fireworks.
Yeah, just bring in that extra level. And apparently it's working, because I think also that the time that you go on is great too. Like I said, it's that afternoon drive time.
That bridge.
About talking about radio or the bridge. Yeah.
Hey, I've been around long enough doing this. Our channel is one of the OGs. We are one of the first one to do it. When you're asking him, you're just talking with John about, did he do any research with other channels and things like that? Lawrence, I thought I created this thing. I thought I created blogging at Disney. Swear to God, I didn't know anything, and I never saw a second of any of like Tim Tracker or anything. We went into it and we started the channel, and then a couple weeks in or something, I was like, oh, let me see if anyone else is doing this. And then I started to see people, so I thought I invented the thing, but anyway.
And, one thing that I'll go back to something that John said, and he can expand on it. So I do the pre-show for Corey before he goes live. 15, 20, 25 minutes sometimes. That's really it. My family will join me, and we're just talking, getting the audience in, and just chatting with everybody before the show. And then I produce the post-show. So, I'm only there for a small little bit of it, and it's so rewarding and fulfilling that people are joining, especially for the post-show where we're showing these the Main Street Electrical Parade, the Wishes, Enchantment, Horizons, Captain EO. We showed, and people went crazy for it.
A few times, yeah.
So, it's very rewarding and fulfilling to me because I realize that a lot of folks in our chat don't have that same experience that I have of going, 6 times, 7 times, 10 times a year sometimes. Or, Corey, who's out there twice a week, or you who's out there, like 5
Every
times
day.
a week. It just, I think that the streamers that realize why they're doing it, they will grow exponentially over those that are just in it for their own reasons. Very rewarding. So I appreciate all the streamers that are in that same category.
Yeah. I
Agreed.
find it very rewarding as well. You're right. You're correct. Sorry.
Randy said Sean needs a complimentary fun to be free cup of water again.
Thank you, Randy.
It's funny, your channel, you have certain things that are yours, right? That complimentary cup of water, nobody has that. Nobody goes live on Saturdays except for Corey. I like that there are channels that stick to, creating their own language. That's actually something that Frommer said about living in Diz, is that they have their own language.
Yeah, I just, DIZ is the end of our title, Living in Diz. It's a play on the word Disney, and there was a moment when we first started. I just started tacking on Diz to things, and I'll never forget. Jacob, my son, says, "Dad, you're all right. You're putting Diz on the end of everything," and I knew that it stuck, and it was a thing. When just one day, can't remember who came in, but several people came in at the start of a live stream, and they started saying "Happy Wednesdays, Happy Wednesdays, Happy Wednesdays," and I was like, "Oh, this is working." And we have the dictionary. I make up words, because I'm a dad, and that's what they do anyway. So we add words to the dictionary all the time. So yeah. I like that you have your own language too. Complimentary. I haven't heard that yet.
Yeah.
Branding.
That's right. I love it. So tell us what's next for Fun to Be Free.
1 million subscribers. No, I'm kidding. No, but I'm having such a blast. I actually haven't thought about the future. It's just I'm taking it one day at a time, and I'm already looking forward to tomorrow. So tomorrow, I think I'll just hit the Magic Kingdom, go with the news, the Cars expansion, and I can't wait to get out there because again, I can't wait to hit go live and see that chat go at a light speed to Endor.
I love it.
Yeah, we did it. We did it. What was it over? It was almost to the minute. A 10-hour stream on Saturdays, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're walking out with Spaceship Earth underneath us to close out the stream, and I was legitimately sad that we didn't have more time. I'm like, I don't want to end with you all. And I said that live, but when we were not live, I said to Tammy, I just really wish we had 1 more hour to do a little bit more. That's how much I love the parks too. I get sad. I tell people, sometimes I'll point it out. I'll say, look at these people, these guests right now. Some of these people, they all have different stories. Some of them, this is their last night tonight, and they may not even know when they're coming back. There are lots of emotions there are lots of emotions in this park tonight. I said, but I have them too. And it's just a different way of life for you and for me, but I love it so much. I'm sad at the end of Wednesday night and cannot wait till Saturday to be there again.
So if you've been watching, we have been talking to John with Fun to Be Free. It's been so good talking to him. Make sure to subscribe to his channel, live every day at around the 2 p.m. hour. Just a very different stream from a lot of folks out there. You will not be disappointed. That community will continue to grow and grow. Very active in the chat, very interactive with each other in the chat, but also with John. So I just appreciate what you're doing out there in the parks, and it certainly gives me something to watch when I'm at work. No, I don't watch live streams when I'm at work. No. Why would anybody do that? No.
Right. I wasn't watching Disneyland today when I was going from patient to patient,
No.
or listening to it while I was in the car.
No, not at all. John, any final words?
Corey Lawrence, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure. I thoroughly enjoyed. Oh no,
Oh.
the gimbal just died. So here we go. I'll hold it.
We need a
just like
lightning strike
normal.
to Frankenstein. We need a lightning strike to Frankenstein right now. Revive.
It knew I was ending the show.
Yeah. So this is a DJI RS4 Mini, and that was the full 100% battery life since we started.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this is a brand new gimbal.
Okay.
It shouldn't
All
have
right.
died after 2 hours.
Yeah.
I was
well,
watching it
Yeah.
because it just went to 30%, like maybe 7 minutes ago. Just watching it go down, 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 down.
All right, we'll be talking about that when we end the show. No, you're very welcome. Thanks for coming on, and yeah, we'll have to have you on again. Yeah, we're gonna be talking a lot. Oh yeah.
It
Yeah,
was
we'll definitely
my
have you on
pleasure to
again
be
for
here.
sure.
We haven't even really touched the surface of Disneyland, folks. So we're gonna have to have him
Yeah.
back on the show.
Yes, we will. Want to thank both communities for coming together tonight and subscribing to both channels. If you did, thank you so much for supporting John and supporting Lawrence and supporting me, supporting my family, and all the efforts that we do. Anybody that's new here, we podcast every Tuesdays night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Lots of fun guests. Sometimes we have some really high profile guests too in the world of Disney, which is a lot of fun too. And we are live. Our schedule is very consistent. We are live in the Disney parks, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, Wednesday nights, and also on Saturdays, starting in mid afternoon and going right to close of wherever we are. So, and John's out there just about every day. So check us all out.
All right, folks, thank you all for watching. Make sure to check us out tomorrow at 6:30. John, you're live at Magic Kingdom tomorrow around 2. All right, make sure to check out John. I'm going to drop his link in the chat again.
While you do that, let's hit up our sponsor quick. If you're looking for a home that offers the perfect blend of luxury, comfort, and convenience with Disney World in your backyard, Victor Naraki is a licensed realtor with Vision Home Real Estate LLC, and he is here to help you find the home of your dreams. With over 15 years of experience in the Disney area home market and a proven track record of success, Victor is the perfect partner to guide you through every step of the home buying process. So why wait? Visit celebratingflorida.com today to learn more about Victor's exclusive range of properties and schedule a viewing with Victor. Your dream home is just a click away, and when we can, we love to simulcast Victor's streams on Sunday afternoons prior to Relive in Diz. So you can check that too. Out to look at homes near Disney.
Yes. And I think he's streaming this Sunday, so I will be producing the stream on our channel.
Sweet.
All right, folks. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. We will see you all tomorrow night.
Good night, everyone.
DIZPod, where the magic's here to stay.